Hello, many thanks for joining this very short presentation about applying to university through UCAS. My name is Callum Fraser. I'm a Senior Student Recruitment Officer at the University of Dundee, and I'm joined by my colleague Matthew Crichton, who also works in the recruitment team. And we are here to share our advice and expertise about how to make a good application through UCAS.
Excellent, folks. Hopefully you can hear me. Now, when you apply to university in the UK, if you want to apply to a UK-based institution, you need to apply through an organisation called UCAS. Effectively, how it works is that you give UCAS your information, so your name, your age, where you're from, what qualifications you have, and then UCAS sends your application out to up to 5 different universities within the UK of your choice. Initially, you get what are called 5 UCAS choices, and those are 5 different courses you can apply to at up to 5 different universities. Now, it's up to you how you use those UCAS choices. You could, if you wanted to, apply to 5 courses at one university, although we would never recommend you do that. You could apply to 5 courses with completely different titles at 5 completely different universities. You could apply to 2 courses at one university and 3 at another. It is entirely up to you. However, what we recommend if you're looking to how to structure your 5 UCAS course choices is that you have one of your 5 options which is an absolute dead certainty for you. So you've looked at the minimum entry requirements for that course and you're expected to exceed those minimum entry requirements, and you reckon that even on your worst possible day in an exam hall, you could meet the minimum entry requirements to get onto that course. We recommend that 2 or 3 of your 5 are solid options for you. So you have looked at minimum entry requirements and you reckon that all things being equal, you can probably be accepted onto those courses if you do as well as you're predicted to do. And finally, we recommend that one of your 5 options is what's called an aspirational choice. So one where if you absolutely knocked it out of the park in your exams, in your A-levels or your highers, and you did exceptionally well, you think that on a very, very strong day, you could meet the entry requirements to get onto that course. Now, it's been proven apparently if you have this aspirational choice, you're projected to do better in things like class tests and exams because you're aiming that a little bit higher. Now, you don't necessarily need to stick to that strategy. That's just how we as a university recommend you structure your UCAS choices. But ultimately, if you have another strategy you want to pursue, that's entirely up to you. And we'll move on, I think, to the next slide, please, Callum.
So I'm going to take you through the key time frames in regards to UCAS. So the UCAS application system will open in September, and during August, September, October is also the time where universities will be hosting open days, which can be helpful for you to attend when you're considering your 5 choices. Now, the first deadline is in October. This is the deadline for those of you applying to medicine, dentistry, veterinary medicine, and also those applying to Oxford or Cambridge. The next deadline, which will apply to most people, is the 15th of January. So that's for all other courses. Now, Matthew and I will go on to talk about some other requirements for certain courses, such as interviews. And interviews for medicine and dentistry will start in December and run throughout January and February. If you submit your application after the UCAS deadline, nowadays it's very unlikely that we will be able to consider your application at all if it's sent in late. Universities will aim to get back to you by the end of March, and once you receive the decision from the universities that you've applied to, you will have until May to reply to the universities which you have received offers from. And I'll hand back to Matthew.
That's terrific, Callum. If you move the slide on.
Matthew will talk about crafting your personal statement.
Terrific. So one of the most time-consuming parts of filling out the UCAS application is completing what's called the personal statement. This is a short personal essay where effectively you, in writing, explain to the universities you've applied for why you're a strong candidate for history or geography or English or physics or whatever course it is that you've applied for. Now, we generally recommend this personal statement is structured as follows. So we recommend that you have a short paragraph on telling us why you have made the decision to study whatever courses it is you've applied for. We would like a paragraph on your studies and other achievements, a paragraph on your work experience, your hobbies and your interests, and finally, we want a clear career aim when you write this short personal statement telling us why you want to apply to university and why you're a strong candidate. Now, obviously, there is some give and take when you're writing the personal statement. Clearly, if you are applying for a course that doesn't require work experience, do not spend an entire paragraph telling us all about the amazing work experience you have done, because if it's not a requirement, you don't need to waste time telling us about it. Secondly, all the personal statements I have read which have been done badly generally do badly in one area, and it is at the very final paragraph where they do not give a clear goal for why you as a student would like to go to university. If you are applying to us, give us the impression that you studying your degree at whatever university you're applying to is part of a long-term plan for you to achieve your career goals. So if you're applying to study accountancy, give us the impression that you have a long-term goal for a career as an accountant. If you want to study physics, let us know that you want to create a longer lasting light bulb. If you're studying medicine, let us know that you have a long career in medicine ahead of you, and undertaking university study is just the first stepping stone to you doing something incredible with your degree. All the best personal statements I have ever read conclude with a really clear career aim and a really clear goal for the candidate at the end of the personal statement. And I think I am done explaining this slide, Callum, if you want to move us along. Callum, I can see you on my screen in full flow, but unfortunately you are still muted. You need to turn your microphone back on if you want the nice people at home to be able to hear you.
So what are missions officers looking for in your presentation? Hopefully you've heard me now. Well, first and foremost, we are going to check to see if you have met our minimum entry requirements. If you're unsure about the requirements for any courses that you're looking to apply for, you can find those on our website. But it's one thing just to check the grades. You also need to read the small print. And what I mean by that is that you check the essential subjects. So there are some subjects like biomedical science where you will need higher chemistry and biology, or A-level chemistry and biology, or private education where you would need higher English or GCSE English. So please do check that you have the essential subjects for the courses that you're applying for, so you do not waste any choices on your UCAS application. Some courses also require work experience, so that would typically be the professional courses like medicine, dentistry, nursing, primary education, social work. Those are pretty much all the courses at Dundee that would require work experience. Other universities, there may be courses at other universities that also require work experience. So it's important to do your own research to find that out. But it's not just about doing work experience, it's about thinking about what you've learned from that work experience. For example, the skills and the experience that you gained from undertaking that work experience placement. Some other things that we'll be looking for is that you've taken part in extracurricular activities. You might be wondering why that's important for when you're applying to an academic institution. Well, it's important for a few reasons. We're looking for people that are well-rounded, and we also have our own clubs and societies at universities, and we need people to come to our universities that will be active in those clubs and societies, so we can keep on running them. We're also looking for you to have a good understanding of the course and the sector that you're applying to. So if you're applying to primary education, you're going to need to have a good knowledge of the Scottish education system. If you're applying to medicine, you're going to have to know about issues within the healthcare system in the UK. So it's not just about reading a prospectus, you're going to have to do some additional research about the course that you want to apply for at university. And finally, it might seem obvious, but it's really important that your enthusiasm and passion comes across about the course that you're applying for. I'm going to hand back over to Matthew. Hopefully he's ready to go on to the next slide here.
I certainly am ready, Callum. If you move the slide on, I can tag in.
Yes, the do's and don'ts of personal statement, my favourite.
Mine too. So when it comes to writing the UCAS personal statement, we often get asked as a university what kind of content we would like in it. Do we have any hints and tips about how you can construct a brilliant personal statement that is going to blow us away? And very helpfully for you guys, we have compiled a list of things to do and a list of things never to do when writing a personal statement. Now, all of these things are important. They are all valid. However, there are some of these points which I think are more important than others and which some students do incredibly badly in. They run afoul of some of the don'ts and they do not do some of the do's well enough. So I'll just elaborate on a few of them whilst we have you guys with us. Now, the thing that for me is most important when you are writing the personal statement is that you must make relevant links to your chosen course. We get lots of really, really brilliant candidates who apply to us and they list in the personal statement all of the incredible things that they have done. So they tell us that they are captain of the school football team and that they have done a summer internship at the Mayo Clinic, and they did an internship like volunteering in Africa where they built a village and they toppled a small warlord, and they are basically a candidate for the Avengers at this point. However, they make absolutely no effort to tell us why doing all these incredible things makes them a strong candidate to study geography or history or English. We want to know about all the incredible extracurricular and academic achievements that you've got, but you need to tell us why those things make you a strong candidate for whatever course it is you have applied for. And we'll talk briefly about how you can do that in a wee second or two. Now, we do want you to be interested in the curriculum. It goes without saying, but if you're not interested in studying physics before you actually start your degree, I can guarantee you by the end of your 4 or 5 or like however long your studies last, however long you're with us as a university, if you're not excited at the start, you're definitely not going to be excited about your subject by the end, I can tell you that. Now, we really want you to go and engage with our content in our curriculum. So if, for example, you're applying to study physics and you know that the universities you've applied for all teach quantum mechanics on their first year physics course, mention that you are aware of that curriculum and that you're looking forward to engaging with that subject matter in your personal statement. Okay? Things not to do. So we always mention to students that they do not use cliched openings. About 80% of the personal statements I have ever read open with the words, "Ever since I was a little boy or a little girl, I have wanted to study town and regional planning." Brilliant. If town and regional planning was something you've always wanted to do, fantastic. But I guarantee you that the admissions officer who reads your personal statement will have heard an opening like that 20,000 times. So the average university admissions officer reads anywhere between 500 and 1,000 personal statements every single academic year. If you give them an opening to your personal statement, which is exactly like 10,000 others they have heard before, it's going to put them to sleep. Now, the best personal statement openings I have read are ones that begin with a short anecdote, where you give an inciting incident that explains why you are passionate about your subject. Okay? Now, other bits of advice we can give you is avoid mentioning one university by name. So remember that you write a single personal statement, and that one personal statement is seen by every university that you apply to. So if, for example, you mention the University of John Smith and you've applied to the University of Joe Bloggs, when we read that and you've applied explicitly and you've told us that you're looking at another university, we do not take especially kindly to that. We do know, for example, of course, that you have applied elsewhere. You don't need to rub our noses in it when you write it in the personal statement. Try to avoid mentioning any one university by name, and remember that you write one personal statement that goes out to all of us. The final thing that we mention is that do not plagiarize in your personal statement. So plagiarism is effectively passing someone else's work off as your own. Do not copy paragraphs from someone else's personal statement. Do not go online and pull examples from the internet, because generally speaking, you will be caught and the consequences can be quite severe. If you're considering applying to university, we have every confidence that you guys can write a brilliant personal statement on your own. Don't use someone else's intellectual property to try and make your statement stronger. And
I'm just going to chip in with a quick story here, Matthew.
Oh, please do, Callum.
Yeah, so I read in a national newspaper actually about a student that applied to computer science at a university that will remain nameless, and decided to write the personal statement in binary code. So that's ones and zeros. Now, the story goes that the admissions tutor at that university was interested and intrigued by this and decided to translate this into English. And apparently it was a good personal statement, and that student got made an offer. Now, what I would say is obviously great for that student. It worked on that one occasion. But what I'm going to say is that in most occasions, this is not going to work, okay? Because most universities simply do not have time to translate personal statements. So don't be overconfident or arrogant. And top tip is just to stick to write your personal statement in British English.
Fantastic advice and a fantastic story, Callum. I think I am about finishing this slide though, so if you want to move us on, you can tag in for the next slide.
So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about identifying your skills, which is also a very important aspect of the personal statement. So if you were applying to engineering or maths, numeracy would be a very good skill to have. If you were applying to English or law, literacy would be a good skill to have. If you were thinking about applying to computer science, analysing information would be a good skill to have. So one part of the personal statement is identifying your skills, which is probably an easier thing to do. But what we're really looking for in the personal statement is evidence of how you've gained your skills and how you're going to apply those skills to be successful on the course that you've chosen at university. Now, as I was saying, this is not always that easy to do. So I have a very simple technique that's going to make this easier. And it's called the ABC technique. So what you have to do, if you think of A, an activity, what you've done, so that can be an activity in school, out of school, it could be a related to a part-time job or an extracurricular activity. Then you think of the benefit that that skill has given you. So what that activity has given you, sorry. So what skills, knowledge, experience have you gained from it? And finally, C, course. How does that relate to the course that you've chosen at university? So I'll just talk you through this example very quickly. Someone who's applied to social work, who's worked part-time at a hotel, that's the activity. B, the benefit, communicating with the public, handling difficult situations is what they've gained from that work experience and from that job, sorry. And C, the course. How does it relate to actually being a social worker or taking part in a social work course? Well, working in a hotel, have to work as part of an interdisciplinary team and communicate with a diverse range of community members and manage high pressure situations, which you would also have to do on a social work course. I'm going to hand back. I'm going to continue with this slide about selection. So I mentioned earlier that courses as such, that there are some courses which interview. So at Dundee, that would be the professional courses, so medicine, dentistry, nursing, primary education, social work. So these courses tend to be a bit more competitive. These are also courses where you're dealing with members of the public. So in those types of courses, we would like to meet you and to assess that you have the necessary skills to do that course. So there are different types of interviews that you have at different universities. It can vary. So again, it's important to find out which type of interview you're going to be doing at each different university. Some universities have panel interviews, some have group interviews for medicine and dentistry and nursing as well. A lot of universities use the MMI style, so the multiple minute interviews. So we use that at Dundee. And there also may be some selection tests as well. So for medicine and dentistry, a lot of universities do use the UCAT test. Some universities use the BMAT test. And for law, there are some universities that require the LNAT test, although we do not require that one at Dundee. I would just like to hand back to Matthew, who's going to round things off here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Callum. So thank you very much for tuning in and joining us in this presentation, folks. We hope you've learned something. We hope that you've taken something away from this, and that maybe this has boosted your application or given you some knowledge and helped with you applying to university, which you maybe otherwise wouldn't have gotten. However, wherever you are in the world, we thank you for your interest in Dundee, and wherever you happen to find yourself, we hope you're happy, that you're healthy, and hopefully we'll see you up in Dundee sometime soon. Thank you very much for your time, folks, and goodbye.
And if you want to go back to our resource page, there are many other presentations that you can listen to. You can also request a callback where you can get the opportunity to speak with either myself or Matthew and any of our other colleagues in more detail. And we are also running virtual campus visits every Thursday at noon, and we'd love to see you there. Thank you.